I'd like to call the March 25th, 2025 Board for Licensing Contractors to order. Start with a roll call vote to my left.
Reese Smith, Franklin.
Bill Dement, Jackson.
Jennifer Ransom, Memphis.
Keith Whittington, Johnson City.
Mark Broad, Knoxville.
Andy Allen, Kingsport.
Lee Carter, Nashville.
Randy Chase, Nashville.
All right. First item of business is to adopt our agenda. Are there any additions or changes?
Mr. Chairman, we had one change under new business, City of Clarksville request for private letter ruling. We thought that was going to be ready. We have a recommendation in process for you. Unfortunately, we need to do some more research, so if you don't mind, take that off the agenda, and we're going to push it to the May meeting.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda.
I make a motion that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we're going to adopt the Roberts Rules of Order, which we do annually. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adopting Roberts Rules of Order, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Annually, we do a conflict of interest statement. I think everyone got that at their chair, so I don't think there's anything we have to do approval-wise for that, is there? Just turn them in? Okay. Next item is election of officers for 2025 and 2026.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Jennifer Ransom to be our next chairman.
Second.
All right, is there any other discussion on that? Let's vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Jennifer, you're the new chairman.
Congratulations.
We need a vice chairman. Is there a nomination for that?
I nominate Bill Dement.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of Bill Dement as the new vice president, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we need a nomination for a secretary. Secretary/treasurer. Okay.
Nominate Lee Carter.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of Lee Carter as the new secretary-treasurer, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. All right, do I turn this meeting over to Jennifer?
Great. Okay, I might need a little help here, but next order of business is the approval of the January 28th, 2015 meeting minutes. Can we get a motion for approval?
Madam Chairman, I approve, or make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. All right, we'll move into license reviews and approvals by the board, starting with hardships. Motion to approve hardship applications.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, license approvals, contractor initial apps with waived interviews. Can we get a motion for approval? Actually, can we do all of those together? Or do we need to do them
All
Need
separately?
to do them separately.
applications with factors, we have to.
Okay. Okay, so separately. Okay, so initial applications, can we get a motion for approval?
I'll move for approval of initial apps, increases, add classes, mode, and name changes, LOEs, LOPs, and home improvement.
Second that motion.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve initial contractor apps, revisions, and LOEs, LLPs, and home improvements. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Application with factors and interviews. We'll open it up for those.
I've got two files where I have interviewed. The first one was done on Teams. Pardon me. The first file I reviewed was number 12220. It's a home improvement application where the applicant submitted his application with a home improvement project in Knox County over $3,000. In fact, it was $27,000. And had to interview him and explain the process, and I think we've got him set on the right path, but I did approve the penalty of $750 for contracting in a home improvement county. Another one, license number 82849. This applicant was applying for a second license and disclosed on the application that they had actually completed projects that were considerably in excess of their monetary limit, and the fine on that was $5,000. And I move that we approve both of those.
Any other applications with factors? I have one. It's file number 82970. This particular contractor, they have done several projects, 5 projects that they listed over their $25,000 home improvement license. They did acknowledge that they completed the application incorrectly. They were unaware of what they were supposed to list. And so we are going to issue a $15,000 civil penalty, $3,000 for each violation. And upon payment, we will issue a monetary limit of $5,000 in the trade that they have requested, which is residential small commercial.
5,000?
500,000.
500,000, I'm sorry, $500,000 monetary limit with a $15,000 civil penalty. Any other applications with factors? Okay, can we have a motion to approve these applications with factors?
I'll move we approve the applications with factors.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Fresh Start Act pre-approvals. Do we have a motion to approve those? Do we have any of those?
Yeah, I approved one
Okay,
when we got here today. Was that the one that they were talking about? I'm not really sure, but yeah, I approved it.
okay. So motion to approve the Fresh Start application, approved by Randy?
Make a motion, we approve the Fresh Start application.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. All right. RCE provider reviews and course approvals, there are none on the agenda,
Yeah,
so,
we've got, I think there is one.
oh, okay.
However, I recommend, just a recommendation, but they were an HVAC company, and it doesn't directly apply towards resident or continuing education requirements for residential contractors. And so all their courses were HVAC related. And so that's just the background on that application. So I think we had one like last board meeting that we disapproved because they did not directly affect residential contracting.
Okay, so nothing to approve.
Or a motion to disapprove.
Motion to disapprove. Okay. So we'll need a motion to disapprove the loan HVAC company, their course, because the coursework was not relevant to our, to residential contracting. Can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, new business. City of Clarksville request for private letter ruling.
No, they said pull back.
Oh, that's the one we had to pull. Okay, that's right. All right, that new business item has been pulled. Legal report. Camilla?
Good morning, board members. Changes to the legal report. We have I have one change and one clarification. The change is number 61 on the legal report. That's case number 2024054081. The recommendation with respect to the penalty has changed to a 180-day suspension of the respondent's license and a $1,000 civil penalty by consent order. The clarification that I have is with respect to number 84 on the legal report. That's case number 2024019741. The expiry date on the license should be May 31st of 2026. That's 5/31/2026. And also, I would like to let the board know that our intern, as you previously heard at the last board meeting, we do have an intern helping us this semester, Madison. She goes to law school at Belmont, and this will be her last board meeting with us. She's been helping us with litigation matters, filing motions, drafting affidavits. And she also has a test today, and she is still here before the board despite having a test today. So I'm going to let her say her goodbyes to the board, and if you guys want to wish her well with the upcoming bar exam and with her test today.
I've really enjoyed getting to sit in and observe. Thank you guys so much for having me. That's
Good luck.
Good luck to you.
luck.
Thank you. Thank you
of
for
luck.
your service, and good luck with your test today and your bar exam. Good luck. Sierra?
I don't have any changes.
Okay. Okay, so can we have a motion to approve the legal report with the amendments stated?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, Kyle, with the legislative update?
Yes, good morning. Two things. I'll give a brief legislative update, just session, a few bills and some rules, and then we'll have, you should have in front of you, we're seeking initial approval to set a rulemaking hearing. You should have that red line in front of you, so that'll be the second item I'll go after. But, so as you all know, we're in the middle of session right now. The bill filing deadline has passed, but amendments are still able to be filed. There's really not been a bill that will significantly impact you all, or any regulation over contractors, but there is a bill that will impact you all as a board. And it really has to do just with public meetings. It's called it's SB 1316 and House Bill 1330. It's called the Lesser More Act. But the bill, as originally filed, removes the requirement that a physical quorum be present at the location for each meeting, and it provides a means for electronic participation for board members. And that would really just be probably over Teams. Now, there are some caveats, like we have to, and we already do this, but the public has to be able to join electronically, and there's a few other requirements in there if we have board members participating by electronic means. So if we have something here in Nashville, and for Knoxville or West Tennessee members, could be a good thing if this bill passes. And also, it removes the requirement that you guys meet in each grand division every year. So some significant changes if the bill does pass. But I can keep you updated on that in May. It's still going through the process.
What are the likelihood that's going to pass?
It's still moving. I just checked it a few days ago, and it's still moving through committees. So it hasn't been shot down yet. I can't really say what the likelihood it'll pass or not. But
Would that be effective July 1?
I would have to take a look at the bill. I believe so, but
Normally, okay.
Yeah, and that's really it. Legislation. Any more questions on that? Okay. Regarding rules, we had the rulemaking hearing over the financial statements and certified mailing updates. You all probably remember that. We're in the process of getting that reviewed further. It's got to go to the AG's office for constitutionality. And then once we get all that review done, it'll be filed with the Secretary of State's office. And then they usually become effective 60 days after we file them with the Secretary of State's office. Next, you should have in front of you a set of red line rules. We're seeking just initial approval from this board to set a rulemaking hearing for these rules. And so I'll kind of open it up for discussion if you all have any questions. Should have that on your iPads.
What would it be called on the iPad? Rulemaking?
Should be retro review.
I think it's red line or something.
Red line.
I don't see it.
I'm not got it on mine.
I don't have it on mine.
Yep.
Okay, give us 1 second.
Okay.
So no one has that on their iPads?
No.
Okay. I think we're going to print that out, so let's move that to the end of the meeting, and we'll keep going.
Okay. Kyle, are you otherwise finished?
Yes, we'll table that, and I'll bring that up at the end, but otherwise, I'm finished.
Okay, thank you. Board updates, Chris?
All right, good morning. Got a few updates here. Just want to first go over the director report. We are still trending fairly high on new applications, and so we're not seeing a decrease really anywhere holistically from last year. As far as new applications, revisions, still seeing a lot of revisions for monetary increases. They're still coming through. This month, the month of March, is the highest number of potential renewals, and we have, this is the last week of the month. We are still processing and turning around renewals fairly quickly. I've got my team focused primarily on these renewals for March since we have so many, but we're still keeping pace, but much better place than we have been before. And so, again, our operations are looking well. We did have an internal audit look at our processes over the last couple months. The biggest outcome of that is we need to get an SOP in place. We have a lot of training materials and things like that So we're going to be working on getting an SOP for that transaction, in every transaction. That way it's repeatable for any processor or auditor that we have. So there are a few questions that came up with the internal audit, but that's the primary overarching issue that we see. But otherwise, still looking really well. One thing I do want to bring up is financial statements. We're getting a lot of questions about audited and reviewed financial statements right now, given the time of year, tax season. They're providing year-end statements that are dated December of 2023. And so right now that's pushing off into 15 months. And they're saying that they are unable, companies are unable to get their audited financial statements or reviewed financial statements in a timely manner. And it's putting our staff in a bind a little bit of, whether we accept it or reject it, just based off the time of year. Specifically the licenses expire in March and in April. And so I guess I'm asking if there's preference for the board or a decision that can be made from the board to allow us to accept on a case-by-case basis, or if there's any constraints that you would like for us to use in considering these applications for renewal or otherwise. And so
I know for my company, we file our 2023 taxes in September of 2024. So the financial statements that I would have to submit would be 2023 if I had to submit before September.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's an uncommon practice. If the board would allow, some other type of financial statement package, that's just generated from the accounting system as opposed to reviewed, that would help. But if it has to be reviewed, it usually doesn't happen until a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah, if we accept the 23, do they then mail in the 24 when they get it, or?
Yes, that's going to be one of the stipulations that we do, that they follow through with that when they get it. Another could be they provide that 2023 statement, but they provide an in-house balance sheet of what they currently have as well. And then, and they again follow up with their fully, vetted statement whenever they do get it. And if it comes around, to renew again in 2 years and they didn't follow through with that, that may be a consideration. Hey, you didn't do what we asked you last time, so we're not going to renew it this time. Could be a potential course of action.
Chris, is that somewhat of a grace period? Is that somewhat of a grace period?
A grace period?
Timeline, is there a window there of so many days, or is it hard set deadline on when it's actually due? They have to respond?
Yeah, I know in our new board or rulemaking hearing package, it does have that 12. We will not accept anything older than 12 months unless the board considers otherwise. And so, those rules are still going through the process. But right now, we generally accept 12 to 14 months, but we don't have anything necessarily to fall back on, in writing. Hey, this is what the board will allow. And so we see this a lot with given the time of year with tax season, CPAs are otherwise engaged with taxes and things like that, and these statements won't get produced until perhaps May or June or something like that. So, and that's putting perhaps a hardship on some of these. If somebody has a license and it expires here at the end of this month, and if they provided a 2023 statement, we kick it back, they're going to go and expire grace, and they can't get new work unless there's considerations otherwise.
Thank you. So an easy fix would just be able to accept anything to 24 months or newer.
That could be a course of action. I don't know.
I think we've generally done the 12 month, and then we've got rules that you all have approved at a rulemaking hearing that will have that 12-month, the 12-month rule in there. But of course, in that rule, it says you have discretion to accept something over 12 months. So I think each by a case-by-case basis, if there's, a valid reason that they're submitting a financial statement over 12 months. And I get the hardship of, different tax cycles and stuff, but we'll have that 12-month rule, and that's really been the board's policy before that. But each one can still be reviewed on an individual case-by-case basis, and you all have discretion to approve something over that 12 months. Now, if it's 30 months, then that just seems way too far out there. But if it's 15 months, 20 months, and they've got a good reason, you guys still have discretion to allow that.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with 24 months because your license is good for 2 years, so you're still within the timeline of that license. So if we just changed it to 24 months, then we should be good to go, right?
If that's what the board wants, I mean.
We can't change it right now because the board just approved the 12-month, but we can look at amending that in the future. I think right now, you guys just stick with having the discretion to review it on an individual case-by-case basis over that 12 months.
Or grant me the ability to review it instead of having to send it to a board member for that review. I'm talking specifically renewals and things like that. That way, we can approve those on a case-by-case basis. And I guess that's really what I'm asking here is, would the board allow that authority for me to approve those on a case-by-case basis? I've given considering your upper limit of 24 months, but if there's issues that I see, I definitely will reach out to the board for their guidance.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think otherwise you're gonna get all bogged down with trying to get all this worked out in a, 45-day period, and it's just not gonna happen. So, I'm okay with the 24 months, but it's probably gonna be more like 15 or 18 or whatever, right? Just because you're gonna be looking back to 23 maybe every year or just a little over a year. So I think we need to give Chris the discretion to make those decisions. If he sees something that's out of whack and a company maybe is trying to pull something over on you or something, he can make that decision. That's what
So do we need a motion to approve
If
your?
we could get a motion to give Chris, delegate that discretion for financial statements over the 12-month period, for him to be able to approve those. So you guys delegate your discretion to him for considering those financial statements over
Okay.
the 12 months.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we delegate that discretion to Chris for financial statements that are over 12 months.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good, motion carries.
All right, thank you. All right, the second thing is we've had basically some, looking back at our old license, has to do with the BC, the restricted residential license, where we had some monetary limits that were exceeding the $125,000 threshold. We have narrowed it down to just 2 licenses that have not responded or either come in. I don't see anybody here to speak on their behalf. There's 2 licenses left that have not responded in any form or fashion. We've sent out 2 letters, one in December and then one back in February. And in February, a third company said, "I don't want to cause any problems. Let's reduce it back down to 125." And so, but there's still 2 left. One of them has a $500,000 limit, and the other has a $750,000 limit that currently has a BC little r. And so we asked somebody to either contact us or present here, but we haven't yet to hear anything. So we need to I would say we need to move forward with a complaint and start that process.
Last meeting, you guys already gave all that authority, so pursuant to the letters that we sent out, if they don't meet that deadline, then we'll be opening up complaints for those 2 licensees, and you will hear that. If they end up not cooperating again at that point, once a complaint's filed, it'll be on the legal report for you guys to see.
All right. Then my last update I
Chris,
have is,
just a
I'm
second,
sorry,
they have the option to go take the test and
Yes.
turn in the score or
Yes.
reduce it to 125?
yes.
Yeah.
Or come in to interview with the board?
Yep.
And, okay.
And my last update I have is a reciprocity update. The board is asked to consider expanding our network. I went earlier this month. I went to the NASCLA mid-year meeting. There was a number of states that was what was there. I did specifically talk with Texas, Virginia, and Kentucky. Florida was not present at the meeting, and then Georgia has not been at either one of the meetings that I have been in my tenure here. So those are kind of some holes in our network that immediately surrounding us. We did have a meeting, follow-up meeting with Texas. With electrical, I will say with electrical only, because residential and commercial licenses are granted at the county level, things like that. So we did reach out for electrical, and they are a very staunch supporter of the journeyman and master progression. So lots of time in those professions before they grant certain licenses. And they looked at us, as we're more of a provide your pass exam and give a financial statement, and we'll give you a license. So there's not a hard no yet on Texas, but there might be some stipulations, as we do with some other states, about having some time and license before Texas may consider reciprocity and things like that. So it's not an easy transition, because I do know that we will reciprocate with some states that they also reciprocate with, but it sounded like to me that Texas was not happy with those current arrangements, and so but we'll continue to chip away at that. I am meeting with North Carolina on Thursday to talk additional reciprocity arrangements that we have. I know we already have a number with them, but perhaps some even more. And also have not have anything formal with Kentucky, but Kentucky is working our agreement with Mississippi right now, and I know that we do share a lot of similarities with Mississippi, so we might, I won't say copy their work, but review their work and see what they have done, and maybe capitalize on their efforts to work with Kentucky. What I don't have yet, I've reached out to Virginia, and Virginia has not responded back, but there was acknowledgement at the meeting, but we have not responded back since the meeting to reciprocate some further with Virginia. And I know that there was a specific ask about Florida. Florida was not at the meeting, and I have not been able to make any contact with them. And I know everybody's interested in what's going on with Georgia, and I'll continue to find out what's going on with Georgia. And so those are my updates with reciprocity. So there's nothing ready to agree or sign on just yet, but there are a lot of irons in the fire as far as working through some additional reciprocity agreements with our surrounding states. Any other questions or comments on reciprocity?
Chris, our next board meeting, is it going to be in Jackson, or are we having it here?
It'll be in Jackson.
I looked on the calendar and it stated all meetings were in Nashville.
Yeah, I think that was a copy and paste error. We will get that updated. But as right now, until that less is more bill is put upon us, we will have the status quo with what we've been doing with Jackson in May, and in the East Tennessee area, probably Knoxville in September.
Good, thank you.
Madam Chairman, if we could circle back to legislative
Yes.
updates. Okay.
Go right ahead.
You all should have a copy of the red line, and I realize it may not, it may be in black and white, but you should be able to see, and I'll go through them real quick. But I want to make clear, we're just seeking initial approval to set a rulemaking hearing. Now, I'd like you guys to look at this just to see what rules we've flagged for recommendations for amendments. But all we're doing today is just seeking your approval to set this for a rulemaking hearing. There is, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So there's just 5 rules, and I'll go through them that we've, and this is a retrospective review. We're required over 7 or 8 years to do a retrospective review of all our rules and flag ones that we recommend that you guys should potentially amend or repeal or something like that. So that's where this is coming from. It's the retrospective review. The first one that we have recommended to amend is 0680-01-.09, that's change in mode of operation. Basically, what we'd like is to get going here is some kind of, when a licensee submits an application for a mode change, that can also act within as a renewal if it's within that 30-day period prior to the expiration of the license. So it really would just be a little bit less burdensome on the licensee. And you can see the language there in that copy that you have in front of you. The next rule is joint ventures. This is something that we want to recommend to amend as part of the retrospective review, and that's some of the language that we've had tossed around.
Is it 30 days or 45?
For renewal?
I didn't get that. Could you?
Apologize.
Yeah, I thought it was 45. No big deal.
I checked the statute actually a week before the meeting, and it still said 30. I can go back and double check. And this is just initial approval, so I'll mark that down and I'll go. Okay. Okay, I'll check that. Okay, and then the next rule that we'd like to set a rulemaking hearing for is the joint venture rule. Any questions on that or any discussion? Now, again, we're just seeking to set a rulemaking hearing, so, but if you guys have any other language in mind that, or any possible amendments to that rule, we can discuss them now.
I think there was some discussion that maybe y'all were gonna see what some of the other states, require a joint venture. Okay, I think there was some discussion about you were gonna look at the, what the other states maybe around us require regarding joint ventures and what their language says.
Yes, and I did look at that real quick. I think a couple of the other states, basically they have an avenue for a joint venture to actually get either licensed or get like approved by the board, the joint venture entity itself. I think they still have the avenue if two licensed contractors can combine their limits to undertake a larger project, and that's what our rule states right now. Really what I'd like to do in the recommendations were to put some more parameters around the rule, such as it being in writing, and you know, we can discuss other potential parameters such as you know, that actually being prior to the bid or any other requirements you may want to discuss, I can look into.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that would be good. I think in my mind, we just did not want to, I guess, dilute the value of monetary limit, you know, by people just, you know, very casually joining up and calling it a joint venture because, you know, they are liable, you know, in a true joint venture, each one of them is liable for the whole
Yes.
amount.
Okay. Well, I'll go look at some other states and I'll get some good recommended language for
Okay.
when we set this rulemaking hearing. The next one is the fee rule. We want to just add some things to that rule regarding monetary limit increases, revisions, name changes, verification for out-of-state license. We want to add a fee to that because those do take some time. So that's what we're looking at for that fee rule as well. And then the last one would be the Rule 0680-06. That's general liability insurance. This was initially recommended to change the policy limits to industry standards, and I kind of wanted to just open it up for discussion. I don't really have a recommendation for changing that right now. I haven't really seen anything that's different than what we require right now, so I was going to kind of leave it up to the board whether y'all want to think about leaving this to amend it, or if you think that our policy limits are conform with industry standards right now. Right now, we have home improvement contractors or general contractors with a $500,000 or less monetary limit. They have to have a $100,000 minimum policy, and then so on. With 500 to 1.5 has to have a $500,000 minimum policy, and then anything 1.5 million or more has to have a $1 million policy. So, any discussion? Do y'all think that conforms with industry standards, or any recommendations on potentially changing that? wanted to talk with y'all. Y'all are the experts, so.
Yeah,
You like the way it is? Okay.
I think it is fine.
So we're gonna remove that one. Okay, and then, sorry, the last one is Go Build Tennessee. We're just recommend to make a quick change about that fiscal year. We've already approved Go Build for another term, so it makes sense to just remove that language about 2015, 2016 there at the end. Okay. So if I could get a motion to, we're seeking initial approval to set these for a rulemaking hearing, and that will be Rule 0680-01-.09, 0680-01-.11, 0680-01-.20. And then we're not going to amend the insurance requirements, and then we're also going to include the 0680-08-.06 go-biddle count. So if I could get a motion to approve that for setting this for a rulemaking hearing in the near future.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anything else, Kyle?
Nothing for me. We just have public comments at the end.
Okay. Are there any public comments?
Just a second. Chris, we have one other item that you had sent
Turn your
us an email
microphone on.
about. American Home Constructors, Inc.
We handled that before the meeting.
Oh,
I'm sorry, we handled that before the meeting as one of the interviewees.
how did that go?
It was approved.
Okay.
Kathy, are there any public comments? Any comments in the room? Any other business from anyone? Okay, this meeting is adjourned, and the next meeting will be May 20th in Jackson. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Excellent job.
Great
Oh,
job.
gavel.
There you go. Good job.
This thing could be dangerous. I don't know.